Greetings. How are you? I hope you are well. We are here again once more. My name is Odessa, doctor of natural medicine, soul therapist, womb wellness coach, and I'm here to talk to you about the process of mind, body, soul, transformation, womb wellness, evolution, and all of those wonderful things. And today, specifically on today's episode, I'd like to open up a conversation about the importance of cultivating your own wellness, like why you need to cultivate your own wellness, the importance of you understanding your own experience in your body and why you should cultivate your own wellness. So basically, the work that I do, and within what I see, I often see people who want to do better, who have intentions to do better, who are, doing the research, asking questions, walking down different aisles, maybe going to different stores, starting to reschedule, things in their lives because they recognize the value of preparing their environment for the transformation that they want to undergo, right? But the thing about it is that this process, when you talk about it to other people, it usually sounds really good. But if you're transitioning with no guidance, so I have all these notifications going off here. If you're transitioning with no guidance and no support, then the process is longer. The process is way more ups and downs, way more variations, way more questions, longer research, because you have to learn the process. You have to try to figure out what works with what you've been doing. You have to go back with what you've been doing if you haven't taken any data from what you've started. You know what I mean? Like, you've got all kinds of different things that are going on, and you may not specifically understand, if you did get results, what exactly did it, how you did it, you know what I mean? And you may not know what you're looking for. You have, been searching for specific answers and getting information that's close to what you need, but not specifically what's required for your particular health, well-being circumstance, right? And one of the reasons why I can relate to this is because not only am I seeing this with my own clients, this is something that I myself had experienced on this journey. I remember when I first came into this medicine to learn it for myself, and then also wanting to become a doctor of natural medicine. I was like, oh my gosh, the learning curve, the mistakes, the questions, the long nights, the heavy books, you know what I mean? Like the revisions, the calculate, like just so much goes into trying to understand how to create an environment around you, or that life that, we are all, I think we can say many of us are longing for, or starting to visualize and want for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, and just for the new energy of the planet in and of itself, right? But the issue of not having support, right, was like that blind sight, especially as someone who is very much, I'm an independent person, you know what I mean? Like I can do what I have to do, you know what I mean? Like I'll ask questions and all of these different things, but really and truly, like I've got my own little thing going on here. So thank you very much, grain of salt type of thing. And it wasn't until like I realized, okay, no, like there's more than that. If you really are looking for direction, if you have like that deeper understanding of like, okay, I am at a juxtaposition here at whichever area of life I'm in that I can see is creating more of a static because of the attention that it needs and it requires, I'm recognizing this, right? Excuse me. And basically, at this point, you're understanding that it's not just about making sure that you're going to the gym and eating this food because you may still not be feeling good about what it is that you're living and what you're experiencing, right? Or it may be that, yes, you've cleaned up and now you're making the bag and you're doing all of these different things, but you actually don't feel good or fulfilled in the position or in the job, at the job that you're at. So that's another aspect, right, that it can show up in, right? So when it comes to your well-being, it's understanding that you need to have an integrated experience for you to have an actual shift, right? And this is where I'm seeing my clients are at right now. It's like, okay, Odessa, I'm going through this process. I'm existing in this, kind of vortex here where I need more. I'm looking for more. I'm not quite sure where it is, but I'm still feeling out the environment. Right. And so it was through observing all of these women, these people, these men as well, like whomever it was that I was working with, really just starting to gather information, intel about what their experience was and what my own experience had been as well. Right. And so what makes my particular work different than what I'm seeing other people doing is, first of all, based off of the fact that it's a curriculum, right? It isn't a course. When we talk about courses, we usually have, like you can download something really quickly and you can go through it, read a document, maybe watch a quick video, and then you just kind of go off and do your thing. Or maybe you might follow a 2-part or 4-part, series after having access to it. And maybe you'll have like a Facebook group, or maybe you won't, right? This is what we normally see when we are on, going into program. I've purchased quite a few in my experience, right? The difference with this program is that it's a actual curriculum. It has layers to it. It has a protocol to it. There's a timeline. There are milestones. There's layers to your healing. What I was noticing is that, my clients were telling me about these small results that they were having and the incomplete experiences that they were still living with, right? Like you go home and you still have these questions, or you've completed the program after, your couple of sessions, and you still have questions. You're not sure, or, did you do something right, or did you not do something right? And so it was through my own in-depth study of this work and then applying it with the clients around me that I began to recognize and see, like, really taking the time, to understand how to unravel areas of static and discomfort, dissonance, and disease in our body. It takes time, and we'll hear it and, we'll say cliche things, but really and truly, there are certain connections that we can make immediately, which will 1000% change the trajectory of where you're going, right? By, very small markers in the moment, but huge in the long term. But when you begin to recognize and align, and say, okay, like I'm eating in this particular way because I'm feeling this way, and I'm feeling this way because I've been thinking and experiencing life through these filters based off of these experiences. When you start to unravel your wellness and your well-being in this particular way, then you start to address the new patterns that you're trying to implement and the resistance that you have. Because those root cause feelings and problems that you are living with, that you may not recognize or that you may not have adequately dealt with, that feel incomplete, right? That you may be ignoring, or you may, be just aware. I don't really know. There's all kinds of, variations to this, but this aspect is really what's running the story, right? It's what's really aligned to the choices that you've been making. So when you consciously make the decision and say, okay, I'm going to change now. I've decided that I don't like what I'm seeing in my environment, and I don't like what I'm feeling, and I'm going to change. And so you actively make the changes in your external environment, but your internal environment, your stories, your memories, the scents that trigger you, the words that make the thoughts come, and the phrases that run rampant in your mind, those guys, they're just sitting in the back. You're like, we're not changing. Like, this is how we live our life. And so when it comes to natural medicine, some of the reasons and oftentimes why the medicine isn't working is because you're not giving it enough time, first of all, to work, right? Because natural medicine is not like synthetic medicine that you'll get from over the counter from your doctor prescription. It doesn't always work like that. It can, but overall, you need to have more a long-term perspective, and you need to recognize that you have to work on changing the paradigm that you're living in, so that you can really calibrate your identity, your values, your beliefs, so that your internal and your external life is really reflecting the levels of wellness that you strive for, right? That you really, really want. Those, vision maps that you're creating, you're able to understand, right, through layered protocols, through, milestone curriculum, what it is that is required, how you resonate and what you need, right? And how it should look on your vision map, right? That's another thing we also address. Like when it comes to all of these, programs and courses, it's like really quick fixes. And it's like this curriculum that is created is really about breaking down, okay, what is going on in me right now and how did I arrive at here? This is what we call the map. And through the map, you're able to understand your environment and begin to coordinate yourself in more accurate proximity and alignment to the actual goals that you want, right? Understanding your wellness goals, like getting clearer on that, understanding the milestone goals that you're aiming towards. Like, okay, you want your menstrual cycles to be under control. You need to have your eating under control, your inflammation under control, right? Like you have these new ideas that you want to develop under control. So the difference between what I'm doing and what other people are doing is very much about starting from the beginning, setting everything up, and then teaching you how to cleanse your body, how to understand the signs within your body, how to put your body in a particular circumstance that's really going to create, for women, more womb carriers, people who observe, regular monthly, weekly cycles, really get you to understand how to step into your personal power, right? And then start to align you with what it is that you deeply want, right? So having long-term approaches to this work with flexible time frames. This is what I have found works because we're able to create accountability for the journey that you're on. So I mentioned a few times the word milestones. When you know that you're coming up on a bumpy road, right? This allows you to mentally prepare yourself for the challenge that you are about to embark on. When you can recognize the signs of an achievement along the journey, this also creates like new energy boosts. Like if you're in a video game, it's like and you used to play Mario, it would have been like bumping a mushroom, bumping a mushroom and getting a new life. And sometimes you get that imaginary mushroom, you're hitting like, was it 11 or 13 or 14 times for those who can remember Mario Brothers, right? But this is what I have found and what I have heard, clients and students say as they're walking through the program is like the way that they're able to focus and on what it is that they need to get done, have the tools to understand, how to do the work, to apply the work, the time to implement it, right? Like it isn't about, bam, 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 and get it done. It's about, okay, this is, the next layer within this particular module, this phase, and you have X amount of time to implement this work. And when we come back, you can ask questions about your experience. You can reflect on what you've experienced. And, whichever layer or tier of work that you choose to invest in, right? Like you have time to really reflect on that, right? So it teaches you how to be a collaborator with your environment and be the cause of the expression that you experience rather than be the effect. Well, all of these things are happening to me. They're happening to me and I'm just not getting anything out of it. And, you are very much the victim. And it's not to say or to invalidate anyone's experience, not at all. The traumas that we all go through are real. The kinds of choices that we have to make, the kind of memories, sensations, and feelings and thoughts that we are left with after our experiences are real. So I wanted to make sure and say that. When we're looking at evolutionary medicine, what happens with that paradigm and that perspective is that it begins to shift. We begin to introduce different ways of you taking back power and taking a new level of responsibility in your own existence, in your own manifestation of the future, in your own understanding of what your life is here to bring to everyone else, right? And so with you in the center as the cause and allowing the effect to ripple out, what you do, what you think, who you are, what you value, everything that is within you becomes the expression on the outside that you're experiencing. And you begin to understand that and recognize that. You move and walk with a different level of understanding and accountability when it comes to doing the work. And this is why I really believe in taking more time. If you're really wanting to, get into alignment, get your health and well-being, get your womb health in place. Like if you are at that point where you know that you need more, then you need to slow down. That's what I've seen. Anyone who has come into the program and has tried to rush their way through the program has realized, no, this actually requires more time to slow down. And that's what it's offering, right? It's about, giving you the opportunity to collaborate with your primary caregivers as opposed to just, being subject to what other people are telling you. And it's like, okay, well, now I can really sit down and think about what it is that I'm experiencing and how I'm going to communicate this with you and how I'm going to navigate this conversation and this journey with you, because I recognize what it is that does not feel right. And I'm articulating this with you, right? So there's a few different ways that this program is able to support clients, right? Like that one person, not one person, but she comes to mind, after the first 2 weeks of joining the program, she didn't do all of the milestone or the check marks, right, to reach the full milestone, but she did some of the work. And in our call, she said to me, I'm so surprised and shocked at just how different I feel about myself and my body, having gone into an appointment with the doctor that week of having the conversation with me. So, having 2 weeks to do some work and then see her primary caregiver, she said that her experience was more of a collaboration. She was asking her doctor questions, and her doctor was referring to her files and looking into her history, and she felt as though she was honored and being heard. That was the first time her doctor had ever looked back in her history while having a conversation with her. And so this for her was like a really big revelation of like, okay, I can have more power. I have more abilities here than I've taken into consideration before, that I've ever known. While doing this work and going through the transformations, what some of my other clients have reported, the most recent client had reported to me that she actually manifested being fired from her job and started a new project, like, and really boosted up her side business now, and is stepping outside of her comfort zone in a way that she had never thought that she would. And going back to planting bombs, it was in a new level of confidence that she had in herself and her ability, that she was addressing her work environment, things that she was tolerating and no longer wanted to tolerate, like the energy just began to shift for her. There was another client of mine who, was really walking between, chronic illness and, starting a business and managing parenthood and all of the different things. And it was like, okay, how are we finding balance here? As you get to understand and integrate the work that you want to do, right? Like as a healer or as a service provider, as an artist, whatever the work is, how are you able to sustain your health? Yes, you want to live a natural lifestyle, and we'll get to that point where you feel as though you can sustain yourself. But how do we create a balance while you're working and collaborating, with what you already have here? We don't want to go cold turkey and put you in stress. Right. And then it was through this that this wonderful client has started her business, right? And receiving clients and receiving testimonials, and just, allowing all these other creative aspects of herself to come in and settle in and take more time. That was a huge piece of the puzzle for her. She needed to take more time. And as she did this and just started to respond as opposed to fight and force, right? And resist, that's what started to happen for her, right? Another client in these processes, leaving and changing new environments and new relationships, you know what I mean? And getting pregnant. So it's like when you can place yourself in positions where your body feels safe, where it can rejuvenate itself, you're feeding it, and it is able to just kind of put itself into a place of homeostasis where it feels good, where it feels in equilibrium. When we're able to do this, this is where we'll see that things begin to work with us and for us, right? You begin to respond to, whatever is happening around you in a way that isn't reactionary, right? And so you now become the driver, the way that you're aligned to your own magnetic north, it just becomes easier, right? And these are the kind of results that I'm hearing. This is what my clients have been, repeating to me and saying, okay, like only after I've gone through the process of doing the work, holding myself accountable, because like I said, we can buy the books. We can buy the books. We can, like watch the videos. We can pin the pins, give thanks. We can pin the pins. We can do all of the things. But if we're not actually doing the work and taking the time to make sure that we're, achieving milestones and accumulating right? Like the confidence in the work that we're actually doing and seeing the change, what are we doing here? Then you end up just kind of turning and turning. Yes, I see you. Give thanks for that. I appreciate the love, right? Give thanks. So if this is something that you have been, talking with yourself about, having conversation with your loved ones about, thinking over, looking up, researching, finding information about, I'd love to invite you to book a suitability call with me. When you book a suitability call, you're able to fill in a wellness assessment, a well-being assessment that will help you to understand where you are on your journey, right? Have you tried these things? Have you not tried these things? And how these the results from your test, greetings, hi, the results from your test, you will bring to our call. And on our call, we're going to go over your results and where you are and what the gaps are like and what you've been doing, just to help give you a bit more awareness and understanding of the direction that you need to take, and have a conversation about what my services entail and how I can be of service to you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And so, with that, that's really it. Like, if you are just joining, I'm wrapping up here. We have been talking about the importance of cultivating your own wellness, the importance of taking the time to do the work and understanding the difference between a quick, 2, 3 sessions and, a longer paced rhythm that gives you more time to do the work and reflect with others on, and who have done the work as well, right? Give thanks, give thanks. And so if that really resonates with you, if that's something that resonates with you, go ahead in the comments and let me know what your greatest takeaways are, what your top takeaways are. Hashtag replay. Let me know what your top takeaways are, and let's start that conversation, because, like, really and truly, we're at a time in society, in life, in the world, in history, in civilization, where we need to make a decision. Like, a lot of us are walking the line, and I know we don't like to have these kinds of conversations. Like, we talk about it and it's like, commitment to what? Commitment to self. Well, there are other things that I can do, should do, want to do. There are other things that need my attention, but we're seeing a level of urgency. There is a level of urgency to make sure that your health is okay, to make sure that your well-being is okay, because you can have as much wealth as you want, but if your well-being is not okay, if your health is not okay, then you're not able to really, really, experience and love and appreciate what it is that you have, what you've accumulated, right? So with all of that being said, I'm going to wish you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this episode. And I appreciate you. Keep returning to the page, keep returning to the podcast, wherever you're listening to this, because I will be dropping more gems, sharing my passions with you, just introducing new ways that I think can shift how you perceive life, how you're engaging with life, how you understand wellness, how we all, are implicit when it comes to contributing to the collective thought, just helping us to raise our awareness. And if this is, something that you're interested in, hey, roll with me. Y'all take care. I'll be back again. Bye-bye.